The only possible and true leadership is inspirational leadership. The best ideas rarely belong to the people with influence. People like Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama, Martin Luther King, people like Vladimir Zelensky.
So yeah, that's about delegating responsibility. Pretty much you're entrusting something big into the hands of the person.
We got the alignment with our leader in terms of our values, fears and desires. That's where magic starts happening.
A team is not a group of people who works together. A team, a group of people who believes in one thing, right?
We should give praise. We should compliment publicly.
They don't need to come up with made up excuses. They don't need to call in sick or whatever. They just write a message that I have a duet day. Duet day is just when you're not mentally there.
Parenting is a lot like leadership. Parents are leaders. For years, I have been trying to find a perfect term that would describe how I view leadership. I wasn't vocal about it, but I was always filtering out things that didn't work for me. Whatever leadership styles that I encountered in my past, I always sort of try to investigate it under my personal concept of, making this thing work, having people follow you, or motivating people, or making other people better. So everything that I was observing, whether in my experience working with investors, with my co-founder, advising with numerous CEOs of successful companies who our investors were sending to us so that we could consult with them, watching a bunch of content. And finally, I came down to this conclusion that this term inspirational leadership is just what the doctor ordered. Let's just cut to the chase right away. To my mind, the only possible and true leadership, authentic leadership, is inspirational leadership. People like Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama, people like Martin Luther King, people like Vladimir Zelensky, they did have some particular amount of influence, right, of power. With Obama and Zelensky, obviously they did have the influence and the power, and the authority. But at the same time, Martin Luther King or Nelson Mandela, they were driving all these sort of changes and all the revolutions, because for the lack of a better word, what they did were revolutions. They were able to initiate revolutions with the help of their skill of inspire other people and motivate people. And how did in the world they did that? Let's try to break this thing down. Well, we know that there is a great phrase that I really love, that we must dream, right? Because otherwise, if we don't dream, how else we're gonna build the future that does not yet exist? And I'm a romanticized person. I always look at the world from a somewhat naive perspective, but I think without dreamers, without people who believe that impossible is possible, we wouldn't get to the point in our human development as we are today, right? So there's nothing, you just come up with something. Everything that you can imagine is real, as Pablo Picasso said. Now, in our life, there are so many mixed up concepts about leadership. So one of the concepts is that the person must really know all the answers, right? Or must be in the position of the power. So here's what I'm gonna say here, and this is the lesson from Jose Rodriguez. He's one of the best communication and presentation coaches and actually self-confidence coaches in the US right now, Jose Rodriguez. He says that the best ideas rarely belong to the people with influence. See where I'm coming from? So the best ideas are usually at the bottom. And the people with the influence, if they are able to build their company or build the whatever social group in a way so that he can listen and hear out from the people at the bottom, right? He would be able to capitalize and use their best ideas to put them into action. But usually people with great influence don't build their systems in a way so that people without power but with all the ideas who are working, for example, with customers, who listen to their customers and know how to improve customer experience, or software engineers at the really entry or basic or some initial levels. You see what I'm saying? That really rarely best ideas come at the top. This is just the reality. And in order to drive changes, in order to make the biggest impact, we must grow, and we must to develop our organizations in a way so that we could listen to those people with the best ideas. Okay? So how do we do that? How do we do that, and how do we inspire people with the best ideas to speak up, right? Even if you're able to, maybe you do some surveys or you do team buildings where people are opening up, but at the same time, you need to build confidence in people. And how you build confidence? You build confidence through trust, through building trust. I deeply believe that building trust takes years, but ruining trust or wrecking trust can take one day or one conversation. Therefore, it's supremely important to give your people the authority, give your people the power to make decisions on their own. This is we know this from the organizational studies or from the management studies, whatever you want to call, is that you do not delegate tasks, you delegate responsibility. What's the difference? I give you, John, I give you this task and I want you to do it this way because I know it. I know how to do it this way, and I want you to completely follow my lead, or pretty much want John to clone me. On the other hand, John, this is the result that we want to achieve. I want you, John, by using your unique perspective and unique set of skills, get us there. Even more so, the ultimate result might differ a bit. It might be even better than what I planned. So John must have the feeling of entitlement, that the feeling of trust, that I will not come after him if he improvises, if he brings some new ideas, or he tries out new things on the way, right? He demonstrates agility on the way to resolving the issue or getting to the acquiring the needed result. Okay? So yeah, that's about delegating responsibility. Pretty much you're entrusting something big into the hands of the person. And the person, by listening to you, a person at the top who exercises inspirational leadership, this person understands that, for example, his values correlate with your values, which is really, really important. Because what is a team? A team is not a group of people who works together. A team, a group of people who believes in one thing, right? And who support each other, take care of each other. And the person who needs to take care of others the most is the leader. So the alpha, from tribal studies in all the animal world. The alpha's job is to protect the tribe. So pretty much Martin Luther King was the biggest alpha for African Americans, right? In the 70s, he had this famous parade where he gave a speech. I have a dream that one day a white kid will be playing with a black kid, right? So first of all, he took care of his crowd by understanding the biggest, deepest problem of the generation of African Americans living under the discrimination in the US. And he was a true leader without command or any control, without any power. He would give you a picture that you can visualize, because people are super visual animals. If you give people what they can see, what they can envision, that's where people get really excited and motivated. Correct? I have a dream, and he draw this dream, and this is the future that he pretty much draw, and he outlined for people the reality that we are living now. So his dream became our reality. There's still racial discrimination in the US, but there is no racism. Well, I mean, there is no slavery, so slavery was put to an end. You can combat me on this, but I mean, by and large, Martin Luther King's dream came into fruition. This is why it's so important to dream. So people at the bottom, by seeing that the person is not after money, is not after more power, is not deceiving, is not cheating. He wants something that all of us want, right? We got an alignment with our leader in terms of our values, fears, and desires. That's where magic starts happening. That's where magic really happens. And I come from the corporate IT world. In Ukraine, we have a lot of companies that, and not only in Ukraine, I think in the US too, there are a lot of companies that are solely driven by money, and they don't have a greater mission. And I want to define money the way it's supposed to be seen. Money is never the result, it's never the goal. I mean, it's never the goal, but it's just the attribute of making great things. You see, if you build an organization or you build an institution or whatever movement, whatever a community, and you have a mission or a purpose, for example, like to help. I have a lady on my podcast who builds a community of women entrepreneurs coming to the US, Ukrainians for the most part, and she wants people in this community to feel safe. That's the number one goal. And as part of this purpose, she instituted English lessons. She instituted a business training. She instituted different lectures, different parties, events, and stuff of this nature. And money comes to her just as a byproduct of doing nice things. So if you're driven by something bigger than just money, or even control, right? Great things start to happen. Now, so get back to what I was about to say about my investors. Big IT corporation where I worked as one of the entrepreneurs. I deliberately say I worked for them because I am no longer wearing like the lenses and the fictional lenses that I believe that I was free. In no way I was free. I was just doing something that our investors said to us. So we pretty much worked. We worked for our investors. And they constantly kept us fitting with this notion that $10,000 revenue per month is nothing. 20, nothing. Until you get to $100,000 per month, we ain't gonna even look at you as a worthwhile investment. So our entire world revolved around making a buck, making more and more and more money. For the sake of what? This was a glaring example how I lost motivation for what I was doing when I started the business. So I always like to start new things, to come up with new ideas, find new opportunities, new great people, to energize people around me. This is my bread and butter. And now I was put in this position where I just had to think about money. Guys, I'm gonna give you some unexpected examples of what the real goal could be and how money is only the additional benefit to your real goal. So your real goal could be travel, see a lot of new people and places, perform on the stage, grow vegetables at your garden in your own house, invent a cure in medicine or whatever it is. So it has nothing to do with money. But for example, if you want to perform on stage, I don't know, as a speaker, for example, this is one of my goals. I know that in order to do that, I need to put out a lot of media content. And in order to put out a lot of media content, I need video editors, I need marketers, I need some advice on branding and stuff. I need designers. And for all these resources, I do need money. And my brain starts generating ideas, how else can I bring money? So money start coming to me as part of my journey of making change. I want to help a lot of people. I want to inspire as many people as possible. This is my just cause, by the way. Yesterday, as I was falling asleep, I was thinking that actually I like speaking so much because I like seeing people inspired. And when I get this feedback that, hey, Serhii, when I hear you speaking, I start believing that I can speak like that. And they know that I haven't visited any English-speaking country. I'm a self-taught English speaker. And when I hear something like that, it just touches to the bottom of my heart. I want to inspire more and more people to express themselves. That's why I started a podcast called Be Yourself. And I want to show people that there is nothing frightening in going and beating the odds. Finding something that you're truly passionate about and just going for it. And I want to inspire this kind of change. So this is the inspirational leadership. And the leadership that I was imposed, the leadership style, the management style that I was imposed by Genesis, the big company that I worked for as an entrepreneur, took investments from them. It was not the leadership style that I needed. Yesterday I ran a poll on my Instagram where I asked people, why do you think that leaders should anticipate and losers only react? This is a quote by Tony Robbins, that leaders anticipate, losers react. And someone sent me a response that probably leaders must have all the answers to all the potential questions in advance. I believe that true leaders are okay not knowing all the answers. I don't want to show my own ignorance here, but I think that people are much more willing to open up and try new things when they see that you are fucking up, when they see that you are not perfect. when you are liberating from your own fears to be imperfect, you're automatically liberating others. This is the quote from Coach Carter, a movie with Samuel L. Jackson that I really, really like. So you try new things, fail publicly, but call it fall, because every time you fall, you're gonna get up. Don't pay much attention to what people in the beginning of your journey say, because your main task is to find your people, your true followers. You see? So I'm not made for the corporate world where people are chasing money like crazy and just talking about this business stuff and showing their titles, CEO, CMO, CFOs, and whatever. I don't care. I like the title founder. I'm a founder and I'm a podcaster. And I want to be an influencer, because not an influencer to have control over someone, but an influence because I can influence your life by utilizing some of my views, experience, skills, whatever it might be. Yes? Okay, moving along. Leaders ensure that everyone around them thrive. So this is the next step. We know that faster alone, further together. Right now, I work with amazing individuals who are my video editors. They're young folks, and I try to inspire them and try to show them that I trust them, right? And in order to go, you go faster alone, but you go further together. And in order to go further, I want to really my people to feel safe that I'm gonna take, for example, blame for something that transpires. For example, if with the customer, they fucked up, I'm gonna take blame. Because real leaders, inspirational leaders, they take responsibility for hiccups, for shortcomings. But if I will get praise or some kind of a compliment, I will most definitely say that it's totally your accomplishment. You deserve, this is what you deserved. So we should give praise, we should compliment publicly. And if we need to criticize, don't ever make it personal. If you need to criticize, only make it on the account of their actions. And I'm really super proud that people that I have on my team right now, even though I have like 3 people on my team only, designers and video editors, but if they don't know something, they know that they can say it straightforward. And I think that building an organization or community, a company, in a way so that people are not afraid to give it to you straight, saying that they don't know something, they're not feeling well. Simon Sinek in his company, the Optimism Company. This is the T-shirt by his brand, the Optimism brand. They have a duvet days in their company. What it means, if whatever person doesn't feel like working, they don't need to come up with made up excuses. They don't need to call in sick or whatever. They just write a message that I have a duvet day. Duvet day is just when you're not mentally there. You're not mentally prepared to just not feel, days when you just, everything falls out of order. That's great. I think this is just a great example of letting people know that you don't need to lie. Because you see, it all boils down to having the same set of values. And I believe that, for example, if you said that you don't lie, you don't lie at whatever level. Because your employees, just like kids, they will not listen to what you're saying. They will watch at what you're doing and they will copy what you're doing. By the way, did you get this thought, right? So your kids, and parenting is a lot like leadership. Parents are leaders, right? You can always learn the skills, but there is no perfect guideline on how to be a prolific parent or a great parent. So the same thing goes for leadership. But what I know for certain that you inspire action, you serve as an example. Therefore, I remember when I was coming to the office as one of the co-founders and the chief operations officer, and I felt drained and totally imprisoned by the fact that I had to be in the office till the late night, because that's what our investors told us to do, that you have to come to the office first and leave the last. And I never truly could survive with these conditions. I could never ever endure. I was always living earlier. And we have with my co-founder, we have friction of values. So right now I don't have all these norms in terms of checkpoints or weekly reports or sending a summary of the call, whatever it may be. Things that are pretty efficient when you're running a big organization, because a lot of people, if you don't institute the set of rules, or kind of rule book on how you guys work, it can become really messy. But I feel that giving people freedom and letting them know that I trust them, as long as they come up with new ideas, as long as they are not afraid to tell me that something is wrong, that I'm wrong, which is going to be fine. This is just my style, and I think it all starts with the alignment of your values. Just like in relationships. When you get into relationships and you align your values, right, before you go sailing, you do this before you go sailing. Then you go sailing, it's a smooth ride, right? Unlike having, for example, unpredictability, because you didn't lay out what you are both about, right? So the same thing applies to everything, to whatever piece is becoming a part of the whole. If the piece becoming the part of the whole, it's better that the whole, the system, makes sure that the piece has got the same set of values. And if the system or the piece or the whole, the piece only interested in getting paid handsomely or making a lot of money, using each other's strength, well, it can work short term. These relationships will be fully described and will be fully wrecked with all this inconsistency in terms of what people really, really want from their life and from their job. Correct? Yeah. So, and I think one of the last points as we are wrapping up this conversation, I want to define what just cause means and what the concept of why means. So Simon Sinek instituted the concept of why. Apple want to make people different by, not even different, but powerful, having the personal computer in your hands, in your arms, right? So empowering the personality with the help of personal computer, right? Apple. And they wanted to, using their exquisite, beautiful stylistics, right? And graphics and operational system, they were able to challenge the status quo, right? The Wright brothers never wanted, you know that the Wright brothers who invented the first flying vehicle, there was a competitor, a big company that had a lot of funds, and they were not able to invent the plane, pretty much. Wright brothers were only driven by their inspiration and motivation to change the world for eternity. That's what they did. You see? And these guys all had the money, all had the resources, backed up by science, and failed. Yeah, and Mahatma Gandhi also didn't have that much power in the beginning, but just by sounding up what he believed. When you say what you believe, it makes wonders. Because people in their deep core, even if they're blinded with all this hype, with fortunes and glamour and all the social media shit, people in their core have main principles, main values. When you say it, maybe on the subconscious level, it starts kind of triggering them, and they're gonna follow you, and they're gonna watch you on social media. So say more often what you believe. I believe in honesty. I believe in self-expression. I believe that you don't have to be a smartass. I believe that you don't need to have all the answers. I believe it's totally fine to ask forgiveness, to ask for an advice, to say that you are wrong. I believe that if people criticize you, it only talks about how painful it is for them to see you doing something, because they want to do it, and instead of trying things out, they would much better criticize you, because that's their defense system start kicking in. It's easier for them to criticize you than do something themselves. So every single time you get any criticism, remember that you're doing something right. And I do believe that we need to communicate more, that we have to interact cross-culturally. We need to exchange views globally on politics, on technology, on business. Every single interaction will help us become better. And I believe that my country is freaking one of the best countries with the best, soft, inspiring, captivating, unique people. We're savvy in technology, we're savvy in communicating. We're gonna be a much bigger in terms of how we run our country, and we will become marketing powerhouse. We're really good marketers, and I do believe that my country will change, will produce so many change makers as we unfolding into the future, as the world unfolds into the future. Yeah, so these are my 2 cents on the inspirational leadership. I'm incredibly grateful for you sticking with me, and I wish you a great deal of fun and inspiration and enthusiasm this winter season. Thank you very much from Kiev. Bye.